This website for a premium AI brand took me 1 month to build and 8 months to figure out. And I want to show you my exact process and what I think actually matters in this AI market. Hi, I'm Jay. I'm a web designer that helps B2B AI SaaS brands turn traffic into qualified users. And a full disclaimer, this is a concept project, so I can't prove that this process will generate quality conversions. I just hope that me dedicating hundreds of hours into studying and building landing pages would at least be a little bit helpful to you in optimizing your website strategy for conversions. I'll also leave the link to the live site somewhere below or somewhere here. So to start off, since this is a concept, I needed a brand. So I used ChatGPT to create Loops, a second brain for enterprises. It captures conversations and documents, finds them instantly as well. So it's a pretty simple concept lah. And with that, the first step was to study competitors. I noticed that established brands like V7 and Cursor uses high quality mockups throughout their marketing channels. Since we process images 60 times faster than text, right? It does make sense that if someone can't see how your product works, they're not gonna buy. On top of that, the 4 other elements that makes a qualified user convert are low commitment CTAs like a free trial, a crystal clear pricing, simple and direct copy, and relevant trust signals like testimonials and use cases. Then I put them all together to create a simple mood board and a sitemap for me to easily refer to as I continue this project lah. Then I started designing the homepage. I spent probably 80% of my time on this section, on this hero section, because 40 to 60% of visitors don't scroll past this section if they don't get hooked instantly. And at the same time, I also like to use this section to test everything, like the typography, the layout, the imagery, and the colors. And for the premium vibe, I used outfit as the brand and display text, Switzer for the body text, and a neutral grey base, as well as orange, green, and blue accents. Then I spent the next week designing the rest of the sections and the rest of the pages, and I used ChatGPT to help me create the copywriting to make sure they are as direct and simple as possible. But the toughest part here were the interactions, because every day my brain would be fried figuring out all the interactions that would show what the product does instead of just telling. Then we move on to the last step, which is the development. And the best part about Framer for me is that it's very similar to Figma's interface. So if I realize that if some of the spacing or the text sizes don't actually feel as cohesive on the actual screen, I can easily change it on the spot visually. And aside from that, I spend a lot of time making sure that the interactions are smooth and light, the loading sequences are clean, and the CMS collections are in place to help make changes easier. And a week later, I'm happy with the way it turned out, and I'm glad that Framer approved it for their marketplace. I also created a 3-minute video walkthrough of this template, so hopefully this helps any new users of this template have an easier time customizing this template. So yeah, if you want to take a look at this template, I'll leave it somewhere below or somewhere here. And if you're running a B2B AI SaaS brand, hopefully this gives you a better idea, or at least be a little bit helpful for you to create your own landing page or web presence or strategy that is optimized for quality conversions. So yeah.